G'day guys, and today it's time to discuss the dreaded Gillette ad. Now you probably know what I'm talking about. If you don't, just jump on YouTube and type in Gillette, the best that men can be. Now my first thought on watching this ad was, what on earth does this have to do with razor blades? You never even see the product once during the entire ad. The lack of an actual product in this ad really makes it seem like a thinly veiled stab at all men, and it certainly is a stab at all men. The narrator of this ad makes several references to we throughout the video. Is this the best that we can do? And so forth. Now that's pretty funny actually, because I don't remember being responsible for the collective actions of all men, but this ad is certainly telling me that I am. It really all comes down to collectivism versus individualism. In my mind, it is the very definition of bigotry to treat individuals as mere facets of a collective group membership. When a black man walks up to him, you do not go up to him and shake his hand and say, "Hello, Mr. IQ 80 man," because you do not know whether he has an IQ of 80. There may be a trend within his group, but you cannot definitively say, without first measuring his IQ, what his IQ actually is. Treating this man as merely a facet of the amorphous hive mind blob of black people is bigoted and unjust. We must treat people as individuals. Now there is some imagery at the start of this ad that I believe could have been used to make it work. What we see at the start of the ad is several people looking into the mirror and looking back at themselves. Now of course this is potent imagery for self-evaluation, which is the first step on the road to self-knowledge and ultimately self-mastery, which is a highly positive thing. This imagery, I feel, would have fit the slogan, "Is this the best that I can do?" very well. There's the problem. That's far too individualistic for an ideologically driven ad such as this. When you shave, when you look into a mirror, you seemingly see yourself from an outside perspective, and this aids in the process of self-evaluation. However, what this ad would have shown, if it wasn't too on the nose, is one man looking to the mirror and seeing the sum totality of all men. He is then asked to evaluate all of their actions as if they were his own. This is of course patently ridiculous. An individual cannot be held accountable for the behavioural trends of his group, unless he, on an individual level, also participates in that behaviour. When we look at a behavioural trend, such as sexual assault, we correctly point fingers at those who participate in the behaviour. Shame on you, Harvey Weinstein, such and so forth. However, it is highly unjust to then point fingers at all men and slander them for the actions of a few within their collective. There is no doubt in my mind that this is a highly sexist ad. If you have any doubts about this, let's play a little game called Let's Swap Things Around. Let's imagine this ad was targeted towards women. So we have an ad about female razors. The ad opens with several women looking themselves in the mirror and being asked, "Is this the best that we can do?" The ad then presents women as very vain and materialistic creatures. They're very obsessed with things, they always want money, and this is to the detriment of men in their lives. We see visuals of little girls playing with Barbie dolls and wistfully thinking of all the earrings they buy as soon as they get money from their boyfriends, before their mother comes in, picks them up gently, and directs them to the kitchen where they will stay for the rest of their lives. We see wives asking for money from their husbands, who firmly decline. The women then nod their heads in recognition of the just action. Now ask yourself this, how would this ad be received? The reaction, of course, would be world-shaking. There would be howls of sexism, cries for deplatforming, and boycotts all across the world. Through this little game of swapping things around, we can truly appreciate the double standard that is present in today's modern discourse. But on a humorous note, let's examine Gillette's selling strategy. You walk up to your target audience and berate them for a few minutes, calling them sexist, violent, toxic masculinity, etc., etc. After you've completed this action, making them feel sorely miserable and off-put, you attempt to sell them a product. I mean, how on earth did they think this was going to work? Now, I'm no expert, but in my mind, when you're trying to sell something to someone, you should at least try to establish a positive relationship with them. When I record a video, I don't open it by saying, "Hello scumbags, you sexist fucking pigs, who's ready to sit down and watch a video because you're all so fucking horrible and you need to improve yourselves." Now this wouldn't endear you to me at all. You'd probably think I was some kind of crazy person to just click out of the video immediately. But this ad campaign does exactly this, which makes me wonder what the hell they were smoking when they came up with this idea. To close off this video, let's talk about the central premise of the ad. the problem of masculinity. It's patently wrong. It's completely and utterly wrong. You've probably seen stats that go along a little bit like this. In the US, 43% of boys are raised in single mother households. Females also make up 78% of teachers. So where exactly is the toxic masculinity coming from if almost 50% of boys have a feminine influence at home and 78% of them have a feminine influence at school? This of course doesn't touch on the treatment of masculinity within the media, which considered it bad, toxic, and everything wrong in the world. The problem is not masculinity. The problem is a distinct lack of masculinity. Thanks all for sticking around, and have a good one.